We can start, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, the podcast where we explore the intersection of personal growth, business strategy, and living a fulfilling life. I'm your host, Avik, and today I am beyond excited to introduce you to a powerhouse of knowledge and experience in the world of business strategy and the wealth creation, Stephanie Hayes. So, welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lovely, lovely. So, Stephanie, like before we start our conversation, I'd quickly love to introduce you to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Stephanie is the founder of Assets to Exits, a unique pathway designed for established business owners to move from revenue to wealth while preparing for a financially rewarding exit. So, her mission is very clear to help entrepreneurs unlock the hidden value in their businesses and shift their focus from just making income to building wealth. So her work is groundbreaking because it addresses something we rarely hear about: the journey of established, profitable business owners who feel stuck, uninspired, or unsure of what comes next. So she's here to share how small business owners can stop thinking of exits as something only Silicon Valley startups can achieve and instead start designing their own exit strategy, no matter where they are in their journey. So Stephanie, welcome to the show, and I can't wait to dive into this topic with you because I know it's going to inspire so many of our listeners. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Lovely, lovely. So, Stephanie, to start with, we often hear the term wealth building, which is thrown around in entrepreneurial circles. But for most small business owners, that feels like a far off dream. I mean, so in your experience, what's the biggest mindset shift a business owner needs to make to move from earning revenue to building wealth? What do you say?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And I think, especially with the folks that I work with who are running service-based businesses,
Mm-hmm.
that those two things don't connect for them. And they just think it's all about how many more clients can I get and how much time can I put in? And maybe I have to, the only way I can scale is to grow an agency of people, and I don't want to do that. And so they kind of get stuck in that spot, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think it comes down to sort of defining what wealth is. And we think about wealth and we think about, oh, wealthy people or, big cars or big houses and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. But wealth is actually defined as sort of having assets, right? It's having
Mm-hmm.
something that is worth something. And
Correct.
when you shift that mindset inside your business, all of the folks who are in my programs have made that shift. And that doesn't mean all of them are rolling in, multiple seven-figure businesses. Some of them are very happy to
Mm-hmm.
just have their little lifestyle business, but it
Mm-hmm.
means that what they choose to work on or what
Mm-hmm.
they choose to build inside their business is actually quite different because now they've got this focus of longevity, of
Mm-hmm.
making something that has value and builds in value. And I think that's the mindset shift is understanding what wealth actually means.
Mm, exactly. Understood. And also here the thing is like once that mindset shifts happens, what are the first tangible steps that someone can take to start putting into the action?
I think so. The first thing that I do with my clients is actually identify what kind of assets they already have in their business, and that's one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize. They like the
Mhm.
idea of building assets, but they think, "Oh,
Mhm.
I have nothing, and I could never create anything." But when we start
Mm,
to dig into all, I have a little document that be happy to share with your listeners
mhm,
about the 9 different types of assets you can build inside your business. And when we start
mm,
going through that kind of inventory of what they've
mm,
got, they realize that a lot of the work that they've been doing has actually
mm,
been creating value inside their business and creating assets. And it just comes down to how do we now harness those? How do we actually
mm.
make those valuable inside the business? So the first
Yeah.
thing to do is to sort of look at your business and look at what you have. And then you want to look at what could I
Mm,
create? Because when we look at a business from the perspective of valuation, even if you never
mm,
intend to sell your business, even if you maybe just want to do an operational exit, even if you don't want to exit at all, or that's not right on
mm,
your kind of on your mindset, looking at the value of the business from the perspective of valuation, as you would
mm,
if you were selling, you start to see where you can shift your focus to things
mm.
that are going to add value to the business, things that are going to make the business more valuable. And
Yeah.
so what it means is people start to think differently about the work that they're doing, and they start
Mm,
to think differently about the decisions that they're making. And
mm,
then it becomes a much more like it opens up
mm.
a lot of opportunity for people, and they really shift their thinking about what this business actually is, and it causes them to think about what they want too.
Very true. Yeah, exactly. And so you have talked about the idea of an asset-based business model. So
Mhm.
that's really such an fascinating concept. But can you break it down for us? I mean, people who are not much aware of, what does that look like for a small business owner who may not even think of their business as an asset yet?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of the same thing, right? So we
Hmm.
when we are so focused on income
Yeah.
and just
Mm,
getting more income, like
mm,
that's not going to change, right? We absolutely want to have revenue inside the business. We want to sell things. But when you shift your mindset to thinking about assets, then you
mm.
change what you prioritize inside the business. And
Correct.
you absolutely like every business has assets.
Mm,
Every business is creating assets all the time, even by just doing the work that they're doing. And so,
mm,
yes, you're always going to be looking at how you build income, but
mm.
people get really stuck there, right? They
Yeah.
everyone wants to spend money on marketing and selling, and they just stay in that sort of vicious cycle. I'm not
Mm,
saying don't, but I'm
mm,
saying that like expand your horizons and think about what you can start
mm,
investing in inside the business and building inside the business. Some
mm,
people take their assets and they turn them into products. Some people take their assets and they turn them into new service opportunities. Some people take their assets and they
mm.
turn them into investments. So there's once you start poking around and understanding what you're looking for, it really shifts your focus inside your business.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, many small business owners might think that I am too small for this, or maybe I
Yeah.
am too early in my journey to plan for an exit. So, uh, what do you think? I mean, it's important to start focusing on valuation and exit strategy right from the beginning, or what?
So I'm going to say
Hmm.
yes-ish. So
Okay. Okay.
obviously, when I'm first starting
Uh-huh.
up my business, I'm not thinking about what my exit strategy is going to be. But
True.
if I do start thinking about what I want to
Mm,
move towards, and maybe it's 10 or 20 years down the road, but what would I like to do? Would I like to keep this as a
mm,
legacy business and just take myself out of it? Would I like to one
mm,
day sell this? Would I like to? I don't even know right now. So you don't
mm.
need to know that right now, but you do.
Correct.
What it does is it shifts your
Mm,
perspective on what you're building. And there is a like I've created this whole exit journey, and even from the startup phase all the way through,
mm,
you're doing different things to sort of contribute to that
mm,
long-term strategy, that long-term vision for your eventual exit. But
mm.
again, looking at your business from the perspective of valuation, you're going to see all of the gaps, you're going to see all of the opportunities, and that
True.
just sort of fast tracks you in the early decisions that you're making. So, early on, you're going to be doing a lot of experimentation, you're going to be doing a lot of
Mm,
testing, and you're going to,
mm,
find your path in terms of what your business actually
mm.
is and how it's aligned to you. But if
True.
we're always building from the perspective of where we eventually want to get to, then we're
Mm,
making more aligned decisions and we're not wasting a lot of time and energy and effort on. And so that in
mm,
those early phases, the work I would do with my clients is more around business model design, is more about but that there, it's never too early to focus on assets, right? It's not never too early to focus on building something inside the business that can be leveraged and can
mm.
have value and can increase the value of the business over time.
Understood. Understood. Yeah. So, for those who have been in the game for years and might feel stagnant, how do you reignite that inspiration and get them excited about their business again?
That's a really good question. A lot of the people that I work with are in
Mm,
that place where they're, and unfortunately, what a
mm,
lot of kind of service-based business owners do at that
yeah.
point is they just kind of go, I'm tired, I'm done, I don't see a future. And so they just shut down. And I'm
Mm.
like, no, you've got so much. There's a lot that, like, you can sell a business at any point and
Mm,
you can sell a business at any price point. So I would always want to pull them back in and
mm,
get them excited about what the future could look like for them. And a lot of times they don't even realize that that's an option for
mm,
them. They don't realize that they can sell their business. And so once we have that conversation and we talk about what, that plan could be, they get excited again because they know they're working towards something. And I think that's what sort of pulls everybody out of the excitement is that they don't really feel
mm,
like they're working towards anything. It's just like this kind of day-to-day grind and they don't see the
mm.
the way the way forward. They don't see any other pathway for them. And
Correct.
by looking at the future and figuring out what that
Mm,
might be, it kind of reignites their excitement either
mm.
to build a new part of this business or to work towards an exit.
Okay. Okay. And so, like, are there any inspiring success stories that you have seen where a small business owner transformed their trajectory by adopting this approach?
Yeah, yeah. I'm working with a client right
Mm-hmm.
now whose story I totally love because she
Mm-hmm.
was, she has a good little business and it's
Okay.
successful and it's making good money and that sort of thing. But she was sort of just she didn't see any other options for her inside the business. And
Okay.
she just thought, well, I just keep doing the same thing and doing the same thing and doing the same thing until I'm just done.
Mm,
So, she came to me because she is interested in selling in the next sort of 3 years.
mm,
And so we did this whole exercise and we looked at her assets and we decided, we did a benchmark valuation and we figured out that
mm,
if she was able to pursue some
mm,
of these other opportunities that came out as a product of our valuation exercise, she's going to increase the value of her business by 100%. And
mm,
that's all based on, standardized valuation strategies. So she got pretty excited about that, not just
mm,
because there was a way forward, but because um, it gave her, like, it opened up things that she hadn't even thought of doing that all came out of the valuation exercise. So now she's seeing how those are kind of coming to fruition, and we're going to do another sort of milestone valuation for her, but she should
mm.
see the value of her business increasing by almost, and that means an extra $1 million to her, right?
Understood. Got it. So, like, Stephanie, like, you are also on an acquisition journey yourself. So, having purchased a business last year, so what have been, I mean, some of the biggest lessons or surprises from being on the other side of the table, if you can share?
Mm. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely a journey.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of sort of eating your own dog food,
Mm,
right? So if I'm going
mm,
to be helping folks with selling their
mm,
businesses or building the value in their businesses, I would also like to know what it's like as a buyer going on the other side and, valuing a business. And I think that was a really great experience for me. This was a business I knew and I had
mm,
worked in before and I had helped design. So it wasn't like I was coming in cold. But, a year and a half in now, there was a lot that I didn't know. There was a lot I didn't know about the business. There was a lot of data. There were a lot of questions I would have asked
mm,
if I, had the experience that I do now
mm,
as a buyer. And I'm still pretty stoked about having
mhm.
purchased it, and it felt really close to me anyway. But
Yeah.
business owners are on that journey, right?
Mm,
That owner was in a place where she was just like done, right? She didn't want this
mm,
business anymore, and you have to watch for those business owners who are in that place where they're just kind of like, look, I can't see
mm.
myself out of this and I just want to
Yeah.
sell, like I want to be done. So there are definitely deals to be had out there, but I
Mm,
would say definitely make sure that you're buying something, if it's your first time, that you're buying
mm,
something that is that's a business you can be familiar with and that you can
mm,
understand. And that's a great place to start. But, marrying those two perspectives together has been really valuable, especially with
Hmm.
supporting the folks who are thinking of selling, because I can see it from both sides now.
Hmm. Got it. Got it. And do you think like going through this experiences has shifted how you approach advising your clients?
100%. Yeah, I
Mhm.
absolutely do. And, when I work with my clients, I'm also helping
Mm,
them in during their exit as well, as an
mm,
advisor, and helping them get through the negotiation process and helping them, set up deals and put together
mm,
their memorandums. So understanding what a buyer's looking for, understanding what we would need to communicate to a buyer to make it a more attractive sale,
mm,
I think is like all those kinds of things are super important. Whether I'm dealing with someone
mm,
who is in the middle of selling or who is thinking of selling down the road, I can advise them on what to invest their time and resources into that is going to have the biggest kind of bang for their buck when they go to actually
mm.
work with a buyer.
Correct. Exactly. And finally, I have to ask, like, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to the small business owners who's listening right now and thinking, okay, I want to do this, but I don't even know where to begin. What do you say?
Right. I would say be
Mm,
very curious, right? Because I think a lot of
mm,
people come in with very
mm,
sort of set mindsets,
mm,
and they make decisions early that without having explored all the different
mm,
possibilities. So I would say immerse yourself in a community of people who,
mm,
have been through this or who understand it or speak that language,
mhm,
and educate yourself. Go look at your business with new eyes,
mm,
because we get so stuck inside of everything that we have done and everything that we are doing,
mm.
and that becomes our set perspective. But if you looked at your business from the
Yeah.
outside, from someone who hasn't had that experience with it, what
Mm.
would you see? What would you see that's different?
Mm. I mean, that won't be that clearer, right?
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think it's clarity and I think it's also
Mm.
possibility.
Mm. Exactly. Yeah. Lovely. So, Stephanie, like this conversation has been incredible, I would say. I think you have opened so many eyes today. What about what's possible for the small business owners when they shift their focus from just making revenue to truly building wealth. So, for our listeners, if you want to learn more about Stephanie's work or get started on your own pathway from assets to exits, then check out her website, stephaniehayes.biz. I'll put this into the show notes also for your reference, and you will find a treasure trove of resources to help you take the next step. And also, here's one of my challenge to all of you. If you're a small business owner, start thinking about your business not just as a job, but an asset. And like start having those conversations and don't wait, because your future starts with the actions that you take today. So yeah, with this hope, until next time, this is your host Avik reminding you to build a healthy mind and a healthy business and a healthy life. So see you soon. Thank you so much.